I love myself. I know myself. I trust myself. I trust myself. I know myself. I love myself. I know myself. I love myself. I trust myself. I know myself. I love myself. I trust myself. I don't even know when I started saying it or how old I was, but I know I've been saying it for a really long time. I know myself. I love myself, and I trust myself. I don't know where it came from or what the exact circumstance is that brought it to me, but I know it started when I was young because I know I had it internal and I believed it inside. And there were so many times as a child when I was in situations where all I had was my own knowledge, love, and trust of self because I didn't have any adults. There were so many times that I did not have any adults. No responsible adults, no accountable adults, no sober adults. And so it was all up to me to take care of me. And I've done so for years and years and years, going on 6 decades. And I'm super proud of that. And in this episode of Managing My Own Radical Change, I'm going to talk about some of the tactics, techniques, and tools that I've used throughout the years to survive these narcissistic abuse relationships. And I'm going to talk a little bit about the indicators that I may have saw. And welcome. And I'm so glad you're back. I want to invite you to stop what you're doing right now. Put this on pause and go review this podcast. Go review it. Say what you're going to say, but say something about it so that people will tune in. I want this to be a podcast that you get inspired by and maybe even motivates you towards action, towards self-investigation, self-exploration, self-discovery, that maybe motivates you to do the work of healing. Maybe it motivates you to download my journal that's available in my Stand store and really get started on some self-work. Maybe it motivates you to research narcissistic personality disorder, NPD, to really see, are you living with a narcissist? Maybe it inspires you to ask the people in your life, hey, I think I'm a kind, decent, fun-loving person. What do you think? And really be ready to hear the answer. I hope that my stories inspire you to want to be a better version of yourself, because all I want to do is be a better version of myself. It's funny, right? I don't get upset about other people and the things they do unless those things are harmful to other people or themselves. And I'll be somewhere and I'll hear somebody be in outrage about something, and I'm like, yeah, I just don't care about that. I care about the way companies and, billionaire capitalists are, trillionaire capitalists at this point, are, harming human beings and harming the planet. I care about that kind of stuff. But do I care about something this politician said, or that politician said, or this rapper, or this actor, or this news anchor? I don't give a shit, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, what matters is me. What matters is when I come out the bathroom, I wash my hands and I look in that mirror. That's who I see. When I log on to, turn on my camera on my phone, that's who I see. That's who I'm dealing with every day. I'm dealing with me, trying to be the best version of me. And I hope that I can inspire you to be introspective about what you want to be. And I hope you want to be the best version of you. That's it. That's it. I think all the time about how I always cheer for anybody that does something that makes them happy. And now something that I'm noticing when I see something really good happening for somebody, it's easy for me to cry now with happiness, because it's like, yeah, wow, that's so beautiful. That's so nice, and I can grieve what I don't have by being happy for somebody else at the same time. And it's like a really beautiful feeling because it's very, very healing. And I hope that I can inspire people towards healing. I hope I can inspire people to want to embrace your tears, embrace your pain, and embrace your trauma from the standpoint of knowing that it's just something you need to acknowledge it. Acknowledge it so that you can then move to the path of radical acceptance. One of my two best friends died in 2021, and it was really fucking horrible and unexpected the way she died. And we had like all these plans, and we did a training together, and I actually had her do another training for me, and then we did one together, and it was about radical acceptance. I think I might pull it out and upload it as a podcast episode. I'm gonna listen to it and extract the audio from it, and maybe I'll put it on YouTube as well, and y'all could see her and me together. But radical acceptance of this is what happened, this is what the people did, this is how I felt about it, this was the impact to me, is not saying that you know, forgive the people or anything like that. It's not saying none of that. It's just saying it's what happened. It's letting go of the cognitive, I can't believe it. Or, letting go of the whatever. It wasn't your fault. If somebody did something to you, it wasn't your fault. If you are a woman, a girl, a woman, a non-binary person, a man who was in any way harmed by another person, that person did it and it was their fault and they did it on purpose and they made that choice. You don't have to hold on to that. They were fucked up. And you know what's funny? When I started going to my first really good therapist, I had no problem saying my mom was fucked up. And I remember he was like, well, what about your dad? And I was like, he wasn't there. And then he said, well, isn't that fucked up? I was like, yup, sure is. So then I started saying I got 2 fucked up parents. And I gave my daughter 1, right? Which was her dad, right? And you know what's so interesting is my daughter's father already was a deadbeat to another kid. And I was the one that was trying to hold that together and hold that relationship together for him. And he wouldn't even fucking try. And I remember when I bought his daughter, Christmas presents, and he got mad at me. And I was like, are you serious? I was buying presents for all the other kids. Why wouldn't I buy presents for your daughter? I was buying presents for my cousins, so my second cousins, which were like my niece age, right? And because at the time, I was like the auntie because I was the cousin that didn't have no kids. So I'm the auntie with no kids buys presents. Like in the black family, auntie with no kids buys the presents. Like because you got the money, right? So I go out and I buy presents for my cousins, and they are all little at the time because I'm literally buying those dolls that they used to like put them with handcuffs to the damn toy bin boxes so you couldn't get them open. Because back then I used to shop at Target, and I remember going in and buying stuff for the kids, right? And I buy stuff for his daughter, and he gets mad at me and says, I'm not giving Christmas presents to a child I don't see. I said, well, how about give her Christmas presents and maybe that's an opportunity to see her and then you could take it from there. And then I went and married this person and then had a baby with the ninja. Don't make no sense. Now, to give myself plenty of credit, I left when I was 5 months pregnant. So it's not like I stayed because I knew that he was a terrible person. I knew that he had no ability to change. And I knew deep down, without knowing the language, I knew he was a narcissist because of the way that he treated me. And so think about where I had to be in my mind when I got in that relationship, right? I had to not like myself, but I also, wasn't able to put boundaries up good because my mom was also a narcissist, and my mom and Bruce worked together. Like, it was really crazy. was really crazy. And then even after we broke up, and I have like letters that my mom wrote, like handwritten, like it was just bad. It was bad. So not to get all into like all of the horrible shit, because people who've been in relationships with narcissists, you got story after story. Every day is a story of being narcissistically abused by the person that you in a relationship with until you go no contact. Every day is abuse. And the more interactions you have with that person is over and over and over. So if you live with the narcissist, every time they open their mouth, they abusing you. Every time. And then they doing shit like passive aggressive stuff. Like, oh my God. My ex-husband used to leave racing stripes in his underwear. And guess who did the laundry? Nasty. Nasty. I had to do his laundry. It was gross. It was gross. And this was a man that was in his 30s when we got married. Nasty. 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 But it was always some kind of abuse. Like the emperor has no clothes, like I said earlier, right? Here's a grown man leaving racing stripes in his underwear. Are you serious? It's not like you don't have toilet paper and you working all day and then you going to church on Sunday. Nasty. But anyway, that was a little gross, but you know, it is what it is. These are podcasts. You can say what you want. I definitely don't put the explicit label on this episode, but I want to move to the tools. I want to move to the techniques, and I want to move to the tactics. So first and foremost, right? It's really, really important to have a plan for your own self-prioritization. Right there. That's what you have to do. And so if you just kind of get into the point where you're realizing, hey, I'm in an abusive relationship. Hey, I'm in a narcissistic, abusive relationship. Hey, this person might even have borderline personality disorder. But either way, I'm being harmed and I need to get my shit figured out. The first thing is to get a plan to safety. Get a plan to safety. The expert's going to tell you, gray rock and start, fading out. It's kind of like, how, what's his name? Homer Simpson. He go backwards into like the tree or whatever, into the bushes. That's how you have to do a narcissist. You got to get boring to them so that they can't get nothing from you. And then when they try to get something from you, you just have to give them nothing. And then you have to just like fade away, right? And just like go away. Now, if they really got you and you one of their main supplies, they're not going to let you go easy. So you're going to have to like do it with care and caution, but you got to get away. So when I think about all the relationships that I left them all. I left them all strategically. And every time they tried to come back, I was like, no. And then I was like, damn, I didn't have them blocked. And then I went and blocked them. But basically, you have to walk away. And you have to be willing to not have anybody on the other side. And that is scary for a lot of people. A lot of people are like, I can't leave my family. Listen, I had 8 cousins that I grew up. We were all close, except for I wasn't close to 2 of them. I had, aunts that I grew up, like I was super close to them growing up. But as I got older, I realized they are narcs and they allowed a whole bunch of bad behavior. So I don't have them. Then I have like cousins and other second and third and fourth cousins. They all not, they just either unaware or don't care. Right. And I just don't have time because all of those people can't do nothing but either harm me more or hinder my progress. And I'm only trying to be in spaces of help and spaces of honor. So that is the tactic. That is the strategy, right? Is to get away from people who harm and hinder me and get in spaces of help and honor. So, boom. The second part is like the techniques. So how do you move away from the harm and the danger? And how do you move into the safety and the security, right, of your own space? Well, that's where the KLT, the knowledge, love, and trust of self. Look back at your life and know all the things that you got yourself through and how you were able to do it. and know that you have the strength and the determination. And now you just got to get consistency and persistence and put that in space. Put that in place, in the space. You have to put in a consistent and persistent effort. So if you need to leave that job because you got a horrible boss, then you need to be getting on the interwebs and getting on ChatGPT and fixing your resume. Fix your resume and get that thing out as fast as possible. Figure out how do you automate that shit and get it out to 100 recruiters every day for 5 days. If you get 500 resumes flooded out there, even if you're a black person, you're going to probably at least get 10 or 15 calls. Even if you're a black person, because we know how that goes. We know how that goes. But a regular, everyday, average person, if you flood the market with 500 resumes in 5 days, you will get calls that next week. You'll get the calls. So do it. Leave that toxic situation. Get your techniques together. And then the last thing is tools. Tools. Tools could be, sharpening up your skills, right? Making sure that, you have, a personal computers and different devices to use so that you're not using your employer's laptop to search for a job, so that if they fire you or you quit, you can just jump off and you have your own tools. Do you also have resources for help? This is where the help part comes in, right? Do you have a coach? Do you have a therapist? Do you have a support network? Do you have, a collective? Are you in some sort of coalition of people that's working on some shit? Do you have a coalition of people that are part of a culture that's trying to drive whatever change that you also want to see in your life? Yes or no? If you do not have any of these tools, start looking into where you can get them. But the next piece, right, of the tool that you need to have is the tools of self-knowledge, self-love, self-trust, self-confidence. You have to get that for yourself. Nobody can give that to you. And if you're in an actively abusive relationship, it's going to be super, super hard. So you have to start gray rocking. Look it up. Basically become dull, become boring, and really start focusing in on yourself. Don't talk about what you're doing. Just be about it. Don't tell your person, oh, I'm going to be getting boring. Oh, I'm going to do this. Just start doing it. If they say, oh, I haven't seen you in a while. Oh, really? I've been around. Don't be saying, yeah, I'm going to the gym. I'm focusing on me. Oh, well, I've been around. Oh, really? What you been doing? Oh, just the usual. Oh, like what? Just the regular stuff. Oh, what I mean, like what? Like what you been up to? Nothing, just the regular stuff. Just that's it. Just living every day. Well, what's that look like for you? It just looks like me living every day. It's nothing new, nothing special. That's it. You know what? But I'm not feeling good. I need to go lay down. I'll talk to you later. Click. Oh, I got to go get back to the project. Click. Oh, they waiting for me because the meeting is starting in 5 minutes. And I need to go to the restroom and get some water first. Click. Those clicks are you walking away and ending the conversation right then and there, whether it's at work or whether it's your personal life. Don't say shit. Just start not telling them nothing. Just start not telling them nothing. Stop. And that's the technique, right? The tools, right, are you making sure that, you can utilize things. So like, use the focus tools on your phone so that they're not calling you, right? Put them on, I forgot the thing, hide, alert or something like that, mute or whatever, so that you're not seeing the messages when they come up. Turn your phone off or turn it over, right, when you know you don't need it and you're not waiting for calls from your kids or somebody that you're caretaking for, right, and you're not waiting for no delivery from food. Turn your phone off. Give them less access to you, right? That's the kind of stuff that you want to do to navigate these harmful, narcissistic, abusive relationships, because the likelihood is that you're in them. The likelihood is that you are in one or several, and that you've been in several. I'm going to cut this one short because I have several different episodes that I'm going to record that I want y'all to look out for. Some of them are going to be about the signs and symptoms of narcissism that I saw in different people at different points of time, like in their lives. Because I really want to help parents who are raising these narcissistic kids know what they're doing to these kids, because it's not so much about how the kids is going to be harming other people, but it's about the shell of the person that this kid really is. These people that's out here raising these narcs, these kids are tops 7, 8 years old. Tops. They don't have nothing beyond that. And they're going to grow into these bodies and they're going to look like grown people. They may even get cognitively and academically educated, right? They may be socially, economically advantaged at the highest levels. But if they are an empty person inside and you've never dealt with, oh, do they have depression? Oh, do they have anxiety? Oh, do they have, any sort of personality disorder? Oh, have they been bullied at school? Oh, am I neglectful? And I'm going to say this, and this is me talking to me, and I'm so glad that I did the work, and I started the work as a kid on myself. But if you're a parent and you had childhood trauma and you didn't go to therapy, all you did was give your same trauma to your kid. Because if you didn't heal any of your shit, your kid has it. And if you refuse to go to therapy, especially when you have the money, especially when you have the health insurance, especially when you have the time and the resources, you are neglecting yourself and thusly neglecting your kid. Because it's your job as a parent to be the best person you could be so that you could be the best parent. And if you don't do that, especially when you have the ability to do so, then all you doing is passing that shame shit down to your kid. And when your kid starts going through stuff, instead of trying to do something about it, you just going to brush it over and brush it over and brush it over. And then one day you're going to wake up and be like, damn, how come your kid doesn't have any good relationships? How come your kid has anger problems? How come your kid has crashed up 3 cars? How come your kid, is sitting in the basement playing video games for 8 hours a day at 19 years old? Like, you're going to be asking yourself all these questions, and the answer is going to be because you raised a narcissist, because you refuse to do your own work of healing so that you could be a present and in their parent. And I'm going to tell you, I have had clients and other people who were raised by parents who were not there, who were raised by narcissistic parents. And I'm going to tell you, these kids, as adult parents, as adult people, they are fucked up. And they are treating their kids in all sorts of harmful ways. And they are stuck in their own pattern because they still around those same people. And that's another thing, and I'm going to end it on this. When you start to really grow and learn and heal, and especially when you start to get more in depth in your own love, knowledge, and trust of self, you will want to get away from people who don't have that. I don't like to be around people who don't have self-awareness. I don't like to be around people who not trying to improve themselves. And so I take those people in small, small doses. So, for example, if I know people that really have a lot of trauma and pain in their background, and I'm always telling them, you really should go to therapy, or you really should see somebody, or you should really call me and we should really talk about this, or you should really journal about that because blah, blah, blah. And they don't listen, I'm going to say it, and then I'm out for a few weeks or maybe a couple of months because I can only take that small doses. So then if I see you again a couple months later and you telling me the same story, or you having the same experience in your life, and it's like 2 or 3 months later, and I'm like, oh, well, did you journal about that? Did you journal about that? Did you talk to a therapist about that? You should have called me so we could unpack that. But you talking about the same shit. You not healing. I'm going to go deeper in my whole thing of, listen, now I'm going to say something that might hurt your feelings a little bit, because now I'm going to really have to tell you you don't have any clothes on. And then I'm going to give you an opportunity again. This is what you should do. You should go to therapy. You should call me. You should journal. You should meditate. You should cry. You should talk to your kids. You should do this and that. Okay. That's how I, interact with people in my personal life when it comes to people not being able to do the work of healing themselves. And then I'll share with them, when I was have thoughts about this and that, I have to really unpack that and really dig into it. So I may give a story about how I deal with what's it called? What's the word? Exposure therapy, to deal with the violence that I was exposed to. So not that I exposed myself to violence, but I exposed myself to the environment in which violence occurred to me. And then I tell myself that I'm okay. I give kid Vonda, the safety that she needed. And I tell her mom is a raging, crazy ass lunatic. Period. Narcissist, lunatic. And that's why she was doing that. And I knew what I was doing all the time. And I was cleaning the kitchen like a damn slave child for no reason, because my mom should have been cleaning the kitchen while I was 4 and 5 and 6 and 7, instead of me standing over the sink and scalding hot ass water. So the tools involve the processing. The techniques involve the processing, and the tactics involve the planning of the processing. You're not going to be able to do any of that if you have a narc all in your business and always on you and asking you a million questions and you trying to play their games. So gray rock, get boring, and start focusing on you. Don't tell anybody that you're focusing on you. Don't tell anybody you gray rock and you're narc. Don't even tell your family and friends, because half of them is on the narc side, narking with them anyway. Just start taking care of you. We can do this, y'all. I've survived so many of them. Look, I got stories for days, and I'm looking forward to sharing it with you to help you with your recovery as well. And hey, if you want some one-on-one, if you want some coaching, all you got to do is download the Radical Change app and message coaching. If you give me a review for the podcast, your 15-minute discovery call is free. I just need a screenshot to make sure it's you. Sometimes we don't have the same screen name as we do a regular name. And that's all we need. So let's get it started. Let's not let this abuse go on indefinitely. And let's make ourselves our first prioritizations. Our first priority for ourselves. All right. I'll see y'all soon. Thanks for joining me on another episode of Managing My Own Radical Change. Take care.